Welcome to Join Our Town. I'm your host, Kit Evans Ford, and it's great to have you here with us today. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. TimOloffson, Executive Director and co-founder of AnotherChild Foundation. We're really excited to have you here, Tim. Welcome to the show.
It is good to be here.
Oh, absolutely. So today's topic is changing the world one child at a time. So Tim, share a little bit about to us about AnotherChild Foundation.
Well, AnotherChild Foundation was actually founded as I was just looking for something different. I knew God was calling me to do something differently, and so I just saw a mission trip opportunity to go and serve orphans in the country of Romania. And so I decided to do that, take that step and just go and serve kids who are in need. And it was an awesome experience, and it changed the way I see the world and the way I interact now.
Okay, so that experience in Romania changed the way that you see the world. So tell us more about that, changing the way that you see the world.
Well, I went over and saw kids who were very similar to my kids. My children were 12 and 14 at the time when I went over, and I saw some very similar kids who had the same dreams and hopes of my kids, but they just didn't have the opportunities to fulfill those dreams. And I just saw that as my calling to help those kids realize their dreams. And that's what has been happening over the last 5 years, and it's been amazing.
Okay, that's beautiful, helping kids realize their dreams, dream catching.
That's right.
So approximately how many children do you all serve a year?
Currently we have 125 children in a school over there. It's called the Point of Hope Development Center, and I can't imagine a better name for the school than the Point of Hope. Because it truly is a point of hope, because it's centered right in the middle of a community of people who are in desperate need of hope. And so we have a school there. We have kids from the age of 3 through the ages of 14 who come and get good education. And also, these children are on the verge of abandonment. That's the biggest issue we're dealing with in the country of Romania is child abandonment. Okay. We talk a lot about orphans, and what these children are called social orphans. These are children who have parents but have been abandoned for different reasons. So the community we work in, we're trying to prevent that. We're trying to prevent the orphans from happening. So we try to give these parents some needed relief by having them invited into our school. We don't charge anything for the school. And at the age of 3, they start developing a sense of hope and a sense of pride. Self-esteem is another issue that we're always dealing with, trying to get these children to be proud of who they are and become the people that they were created to be.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. So the education piece, but also the empowerment piece to inspire and give the young people self-worth. And you work with 3-year-olds all the way up to older children as well.
Yeah. It's funny to see that the biggest difference I see is we invite these 3-year-olds in, and they just come in so shy, almost unable to speak at times. They just don't have the ability to communicate at all because they've been so isolated. And then I go back, because I go over about 3 or 4 times a year to Romania. So I go back again in 6 months and see how much these kids have progressed in just 6 months. It's amazing to see the progress when kids get individual attention. It really makes a big difference in their lives.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And it's interesting to hear, too, that you focus on the children, but then there's also the reality of parents and also working with teachers in Romania as well.
Yeah. To be honest, I think the primary reason why the parents even sent, because they don't prioritize education as part of their children's experience. Most of the time, after 4 years of our preschool program, the kids will have more formal education than their parents do. So obviously the parents do not prioritize education. So the primary reason why they sent the kids there, because we feed them 2 meals a day, they get medicine, and they get showers and things like that. But now we see the parents taking pride in their kids. And they do have segregated schools in Romania. So we work with the Gypsy or Roma population. So they have a set of schools for the Gypsy and Roma, which are poorly funded, poorly run. They're just providing it because it's needed, but it's not anything that's really adding value to the kids' lives. And then they have the normal Romanian schools. So probably the biggest thing that I think we've seen is the parents now come to us and say, we need to make sure our preschoolers are prepared to go to the regular Romanian schools. So now they're taking pride in their child's education. And we're believers that early childhood education is the key to reversing the cycle of poverty.
Reversing that cycle of poverty. So how does AnotherChild Foundation reach people in the U.S. as well as Romania?
Well, I'm a believer as a developer of a ministry that we need to do ministry right. And I think one of my friends always told me, Tim, if you're not in relationship with people, then you're not doing ministry. So I believe our ministry is all about relationships and empowering people. So the way we reach people here in the United States, we use the term reach, teach, and transform. So I like that term because we can use that for the children in Romania in which we're reaching, but we can also use it for the people here in the U.S. because we can reach out to them, teach them, and then their lives can be transformed by what they learn in those situations.
And I know you've mentioned the cycle of poverty and the reality of poverty. So what is the real definition of poverty?
That's a great question. I think a lot of people see poverty as the inability to provide shelter, clothing, and food. That's kind of a North American answer for people who have a lot of resources, but for the people who are truly impoverished, it's more about isolation, voicelessness, oppression. Those are the words they use when they're describing poverty. So to alleviate poverty, which is really what AnotherChild Foundation is, we're a poverty alleviation organization. We try to help people by using the assets in which they have, but then looking for the deficiencies in which they don't have. And in Romania specifically, it's about education. But here in the U.S., getting back to your question, how can we help that? Because I think that there's a lot of people here who just don't quite realize how blessed they are in the U.S. And we don't give a blessing because we feel guilty about it, but we give back because that's what we're called to do. When we see the world differently, then we have the ability to change the world.
And I know you were mentioning that sometimes you all would actually take mission trip groups over to Romania to experience, to serve, but then there also that emphasis on, okay, we're serving here, but then also what can we do when we get back to our own communities?
I'm a believer that the mission trip can be a catalyst to a person's, however they see their lives unfolding. When you go over and serve kids who are tremendously impoverished, I think we just try to nurture that. We use it as a catalyst. So every night we'll go over and we're talking about mission trips, and we'll go over, well, how can you use this? What did you learn today that you can apply back in your own communities? Because our own communities need a lot of help too. And so really we look at it as a mission trip training ground when they go overseas. And so when people come back, we want them to be fired up every day to go out and help in their own communities. And I've seen it repeatedly with our mission trip people that they come back energized and they're the leaders who are really making things happen here in the Quad Cities.
Fired up and ready to go.
That's right.
All right, all right. And I know we were talking just briefly about the difference between charity and solidarity, you know, going in and serving and giving food and, you know, providing certain things, but when you're really working to be present with people, not just for a day, but for for an extended amount of time and working as allies with people, it makes a big difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really is about relationships. Everything is about relationships. We need to be building people up and not just be giving people things. So everything needs to be based upon relationships.
Yeah, relationships, the importance of relationships. So on that note, why are relationships with supporters and receivers important within a ministry?
Well, we believe philanthropy is a very powerful word that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people think that nonprofits are out there just asking for money. But really, when you understand philanthropy and the power of giving, boy, that's a powerful feeling that we want to bring to people because they're the ones that are really making the difference. I mean, I sit in an office and really my impact is not as big as our donors' impact, our supporters. It's our supporters that are really making the difference to ministry by their philanthropy, their heart to give to something that they want to change. Social injustice, and in this case, child abandonment, is very important. And so we just try to find like-minded people who want to support a cause like this. And so when they become philanthropic in their giving, then the world can change.
All right, so tell us a success story.
One of the biggest success stories is a young girl by the name of Maria. She's over there, and we have a hard time getting these kids to focus on dreams. We need to get these kids to think about what they want to become and who they want to develop into. And Maria was a child who came into our program at the age of 3, so shy she could hardly speak, but just through the time, and now she has a goal to be a nurse. And
Good for her.
and so we're really taking that dream. And so when we go out and we take people to the zoos and the airports and the hospitals and stuff like that, we just don't go to show them those things. We say there's actual jobs here. These are people do these jobs, and you guys have the talents to do these things. So when we took Maria to one of the nursing into the hospitals, she says, you know what, that is something I want to do. And simply that itself is really almost a miracle, because these children live from day to day, and they just don't think about, it's more, they're in survival mode so much that they don't think about what can I become. That's a new concept to them. So we're excited to be able to help girls like Maria and hundreds of other kids who now have dreams about what they can become. And yeah, so we're just thankful that we're being used to help people fulfill their dreams.
It's absolutely beautiful. And
Dreams that they don't even know they have. Yeah.
How beautiful. And it's so interesting, you know, with children, you're planting seeds that are being watered, and they literally are going to help change the world in the future.
So right now, we're really hoping that as we look at these 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-old kids, which one of these kids, so we're treating each one as if this is the child that's going to be that leader that's really going to come back and transform their community. So we treat each one of them the same. But I wish I could jump ahead like 20 years and see which one of these kids did become that leader. So it's so exciting, because we are planting seeds. And whenever you're working with young kids, you know, you'd like to see the fruit of your labor real quick, but we know that's not the case. So we know we're planting seeds, and we expect to see a lot of good fruit come from that in the future.
Yeah, many blessings. It sounds like you will.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, how do people receive, if someone wants to receive more information or check out more information, where do we go to get more information?
Yeah, go to our website. That's the best site, and that's just www.anotherchild.org. Of course, we have a Facebook page too and a blog site, but everything goes through our website, which is anotherchild.org.
Okay, anotherchild.org.
Yep.
Well, thank you for making a difference, Tim.
Well, thank
Keep
you.
on keeping on.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, blessings to you, and thank you for your time.
All righty.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for joining us on Joy in Our Town. We'll see you next time.
Hey kids, what's a great way to start your day?
Wake up early and take over the bathroom before your brother?
Ah, no! First, fruits and veggies. Second, walk to school.
Yeah, we walk the safe route to school every day, Skip.
I know, Scout. It's a great way to get some exercise.
And look, our community garden.
Yep, right in our neighborhood. So we can eat healthy.
And move more.
Made possible with funding from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
You're watching TBN, part of the Trinity Broadcasting family of networks.
Got a new TV, computer, or cell phone? Waste Commission of Scott County will properly recycle your old e-waste. So don't worry about your data and information. Not sure what items are considered e-waste? It's simple. Anything with a screen or circuit board. No appointment necessary. Just stop by our e-waste facility to drop off your items. The best part? It's free for Scott and Rock Island County residents. E-waste recycling. Good for the environment, easy for you. Not sure what to do with all those paint cans, cleaners, and other harmful items under the sink and in your garage? This material poses a health risk and is harmful to the environment, so it can't be thrown out. Go to wastecom.com and make an appointment to bring in your hazardous material. We will dispose of it properly, and here's the best part. It's free for Scott and Rock Island County residents. Proper disposal of hazardous material. Good for the environment, easy for you.
Welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host today, Kate McGovern, and today's guest is Ted and Janet Brown. They're with the HeadLice Clinics of America Quad Cities. Ted and Janet, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you for having
so
us.
our topic today is HeadLice. So tell me a little bit about you two and your research on the HeadLice that you're wanting to share about today.
Well, our research, the way we got into this business was like a lot of families. Some of our kids got head lice about 2 years ago now. And like most people, you know, we went to the drugstore and got the over-the-counter medicated shampoos and then Janet proceeded to do a lot of work
Yeah,
to get rid of it.
I probably combed out my 2 girls for about 40 hours. I didn't Google anything, you know, I didn't look at YouTube. I just kind of took that comb that came with the product and combed away.
So I knew that, you know, in big cities, there were professional nitpickers that will just sit and comb people for, I mean, they charge $75 or $100 an hour to do that.
So where does lice come from in your research? You know, and where does lice come from? And tell us a little bit about how we get rid of these things.
So ever since recorded history, I mean, they've been there. They've found lice on mummies, Egyptian mummies. So, and, you know, just they're everywhere. I mean, even though we can't see them, you know, you just have to assume
Well,
they're
and
out
when
there.
you say everywhere, you mean in every community,
Right.
in every you know,
Right.
race, socioeconomic class, and everything. But they are specific to the human head. That's where they come from. They don't live on a couch. They don't live in the soil. They don't live in anywhere but the human scalp.
Okay. So tell me a little bit, how do you rule out head lice?
Well, there are definitely a lot of debris in our hair, like dandruff. We find a lot of glitter on little kids, but the presence of eggs and also bugs. So with lice eggs, the difference between an egg and, say, maybe dandruff is lice eggs are stuck on the hair shaft. You really can't remove them by blowing it, washing it, flicking it. You have to force it down the hair shaft. And almost like if you take your finger and you move it down your hair shaft, the egg is almost like a speed bump. Whereas dandruff, you can blow it off and wash it off. And of course, a bug is a bug. They're an insect, so 6 legs.
Yeah.
And
Now tell me, does head lice carry a disease with it?
no, head lice.
Head
they
lice
do not.
themselves don't transmit any kind
Right.
of disease. There are a couple of other kinds of lice that humans are susceptible to, but and those have their own specific problems. But head lice, in and of themselves, don't present much of a threat. There is a little bit of a chance of if somebody's scratching a lot, a child is scratching and they scratch to the point where they open up a wound on their scalp, they can get a secondary infection that way. But it's not the lice themselves that would transmit that.
Okay. So let's say your children come home, they have head
Right.
lice.
Right.
So what is a parent to do? What's the first thing that they should begin to do?
Well, they need to eliminate the problem right away. I mean, there's 2 problems. You have the bugs that are laying the eggs, the females lay the eggs, and then you have the eggs that hatch in a cycle. So you need to get rid of those 2 problems. First, you have to confirm that it is head lice, because there are cases that we see in the clinic where it isn't head lice. You do not want to treat someone if they do not have a lice infestation. So like I told you before, there's a distinct characteristic of an egg. So you have to make sure that it's lice. And then there are definitely there are treatment options everywhere. And we feel we provide the most effective,
Okay.
which is the
Traditionally, people would run to the store and get permethrin or pyrethrin-based shampoo, and you would have to apply that and then get the little comb that comes with the kit and begin to manually remove all those eggs. And then you have to retreat again, you know, in another 7 days or so following the package directions. With what we do in the clinic, we bring folks in, we do 1 treatment, and they're finished. We can guarantee that they leave lice-free.
Wow. So are lice shampoos potentially hazardous?
There are a lot of opinions about that.
Okay.
We're not ones to try to scare anybody about those. They've been used for decades, and I always say they're safe when you use them according to the directions on the package. The problem is most people don't follow the directions on the package. They overreact. The package says treat once and then treat again in 7 days. Well, then we have people tell us, oh, I've been doing this every night for a week. And you say, well, stop. That's not what you're supposed to do. Or they begin to layer products together. You know, I used this one, and then I got that. I got one of everything at the store, and I've been using them all in a series. And you say, well, stop, because not only are you overusing the products, but you're also layering them together in a way that was never intended. So people need to just kind of take a deep breath and understand that it's a nuisance, it's a problem, but you don't need to go with the nuclear option.
Yeah, and we do have safer options. You want to get
Sure. One thing that you can use is a dimethicone-based product. Dimethicone is an ingredient in lots of things that go on your skin and your hair all the time. It's in makeup, it's in conditioner, it's in skin lotion, lip balm, stuff that you put on your skin and leave it on all the time. The great thing about dimethicone is when you apply it at or near full strength, it also kills live head lice, but it doesn't do it through a toxic means. It doesn't attack the nervous system of the lice like pyrethrins and permethrin. It's a suffocant. If you've ever done any reading about home remedies for head lice, you'll always hear about, oh, use mayonnaise or use coconut oil or something like along those lines. And this stuff does what those agents are trying to do, but it does it in minutes.
And with over-the-counter products, there is a risk if you have asthma of an allergic reaction, whereas our dimethicone is completely safe. If you wanted to use this every day, you could. Right. You know, it's safe for pregnant women, for little kids, for people with asthma.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Right.
The permethrin and pyrethrins can trigger an asthma attack, and they can cause, for people that have ragweed allergies, for example,
yes,
because it's derived from chrysanthemum plants, it can cause some problems.
And it does say that on the label, on the package, a warning label.
So that's what a parent would do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what about for a school, or what about at home? What would you do for that?
Well, at school, we really advise our clients when they leave our clinic, make sure you don't touch heads with people, because head-to-head contact is definitely the primary way of getting head lice. You know, with schools, the kids are, you know, hugging, and you know, it's hard to tell them that don't touch heads. You know, so we also advise weekly checks, you know, at home, and what we say is once a week, take a peek. So take a good lice comb. Do you want to show them a lice comb? So take a good lice comb like this and check weekly. I mean, nurses have a lot to do at their schools. So it's really up to the parents. It's their responsibility to check if there's a new infestation, if there's an existing infestation.
Was your question more to the environment, though? Like what to do about the physical, the chairs, the desks, the couches, those kinds of things?
Yeah, like in a school's now infested with lice, or the home is. So like if one child comes home, does everyone in the family now need to be treated because, you know, one has it? Does that mean everybody else gets it?
I would say everybody needs to be screened for sure.
Right.
Because, in fact, our guarantee, one of the conditions of our guarantee is that we're able to screen every member of the household. We would love to be able to screen everybody in that child or that person's whole social circle, but that's not practical. Mm-hmm. So we say, you know, if you let us look at everybody in your household, determine the extent of the problem and solve it where necessary, then our guarantee stands. Because it doesn't do any good to fix the problem for one person and not look at the rest of the people. Who knows if little brother or little sister has it, you could end up right back in the same boat again. So it's important to get a look at everybody and understand the extent of the problem and then solve it in a more holistic way. You know, let's take care of all of it at once and be done.
Okay.
You know,
so
but as far as the school goes or the home goes, you have to do a little bit of cleanup. I mean, a school takes care of itself every weekend when everybody goes home, because head lice can't survive off the host for more than 48 hours.
Okay.
So, you know, when the kids go home for the weekend, anything that might be alive in a school is going to be dead when they come back Monday morning. In the home, we tell people, take a look at your life in the last 48 hours. Once you solve the problem on the scalp, where the battle really is, then you want to do a little cleanup around the house. Take recently worn clothing, bedding, towels, those kinds of items, and run them through a hot dryer at the very least. You can wash them if you want, but really the dryer is going to do the trick. Anything that you can't treat that way, if it's got plastic parts on it or rubber, if you don't want to expose it to heat, then you just isolate that item for a good 2-3 days, and it'll be safe after that. Everything else, you do some vacuuming, you wipe down the couches, whatever's appropriate for that kind of surface.
Okay, so you mentioned wipe down furniture, couches. So what would someone actually do for that? To get rid of lice, if you feel that the kids have been sitting on the couch and watching TV, so you said wipe it down. What do you wipe it down with?
A rag.
Or you can take your vacuum,
Okay.
the hose attachment.
Okay.
And an easy solution is just put a clean sheet over the couch and just let it sit there for a couple of days, because lice don't live for very long, and they need food. And the food is on the scalp.
We tell some of our clients, if you really want to take care of the problem, just go away for a 3-day weekend and come back home, everything
Very
will be
interesting.
taken care of.
Yeah. So you do the treatment and then you do the combing?
Yeah, so we use, for our 3-step treatment, we use our heat, and then the combing, and then the oil.
Okay.
That's a 3-step complete treatment.
Great. Well, would you like to share any ending thoughts with our viewers today?
Anybody that wants any more information, if they have questions that are specific to their family or their situation, they're welcome to call us. Our phone number is 563-949-2356. You can call us or text us at that number. We love it when the phone rings, even if it's just for questions. So call
and a
anytime.
website? You have a website?
We do. It's lcaquadcities.com.
Great. Super. Well, Ted and Janet, thank you so much for
Thank
being with us
you
today.
for having
Great
me.
information and wonderful to know how we can take care of head lice.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. And I want to thank our viewers. Thank you so much for being with us today on Joy in Our Town. Till next time.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Joy in Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.
You're watching TBN, part of the Trinity Broadcasting family of networks.